When Boruto returned to Konoha to save Himawari and Sarada from Jura and Hidari, Konohamaru showed clear anger towards him. This anger came from the betrayal caused by Omnipotence and Kawaki, which had made people believe Boruto was guilty of crimes he didn't commit. You can see Konohamaru's frustration through his angry microexpression when he questioned Boruto. He asked what Boruto was plotting, turning up in Konoha as if nothing had changed, and even demanded to know if Boruto truly understood the position he was in. In this video, I'll explain how Boruto managed to gain Konohamaru's trust despite the influence of Omnipotence, and the fact he had been framed for the disappearance of Naruto and Hinata by Kawaki. So, how did Boruto gain Konohamaru's trust? Boruto managed to earn Konohamaru's trust after the mission where Konohamaru and the others had to defeat Matsuri and Ryu and recover their Thorn Soul bulbs. In this mission, the group needed to separate Matsuri and Ryu because facing them together would have been too difficult. Konohamaru and the others successfully split them up. Konohamaru ended up facing Matsuri, who was overwhelmed by romantic feelings she had towards him, feelings she didn't fully understand. At first, things seemed fine between them, but the situation changed when Konohamaru refused to let Matsuri call him Konohamaru-chan. This upset Matsuri because she realized that Konohamaru only allowed Muegi to call him dad. Her emotions quickly shifted from admiration to jealousy, hurt, and anger. Realizing that her connection with Konohamaru was weaker than the bond he shared with Muegi, Matsuri snapped and attacked him with the intention of devouring him. Konohamaru was about to be killed by Matsuri when Boruto suddenly appeared and saved him. Using the flying Raijin Jutsu, Boruto instantly teleported to where Konohamaru and Matsuri were. As soon as he arrived, he threw a shuriken at Matsuri. The moment the shuriken got close, Boruto used the flying Raijin again to instantly teleport right near her. He then pulled his blade out and cut her down in one strike, ultimately defeating her. Konohamaru was shocked at how quickly Boruto managed to defeat Matsuri. Boruto explained that it was only possible because Matsuri had already taken heavy damage from the two massive Rasengan that Konohamaru had hit her with. Without that, it would have not been so easy for Boruto to cut her down. As Matsuri's Thorn Soul bulb was forming, Jura fired a sniper-like compressed Biju bomb at Boruto from a distance. Luckily, it missed. The failed shot made Boruto realize that Jura had arrived on the battlefield. Once the Thorn Soul bulb had finished forming and was in Konohamaru's hands, Boruto began throwing multiple shuriken at different spots, preparing to use them against Jura later. He then turned to Konohamaru and spoke urgently, telling him that there was no time. The urgency was clear in his tone, especially with the exclamation mark after the words "please listen." Boruto told Konohamaru to leave immediately, take Sarada and the others, and head to the place where they had first met the Sen Shinobi. At this point, Konohamaru realized that Boruto somehow knew about the mission Shikamaru had given them. Since Konohamaru didn't know that Kashinkuji was alive and secretly the one providing Shikamaru with information through his present Shinjutsu ability, he must have assumed that Boruto was the one who gave Shikamaru the mission details. Because of this, when Boruto told him to regroup at the meeting place with the Sen Shinobi, Konohamaru believed Boruto was actively helping with the mission, especially since things were going badly for Konohamaru after being separated from the others. What truly convinced Konohamaru to trust Boruto was the urgency and emotion in Boruto's words. When Konohamaru tried to speak, Boruto interrupted him, shouting with 3 exclamation marks, "You heard me, move!" This raw concern showed Konohamaru that Boruto genuinely cared for their safety. Before Konohamaru could act, Jura appeared and fired another Biju bomb at them. Boruto reacted instantly, grabbing Konohamaru and flying into the air to dodge their attack. While airborne, Boruto used the wind-style jutsu to throw Konohamaru far away, allowing him to land safely on the ground and escape. These actions showed Konohamaru that Boruto truly had no intention of harming Konoha or its shinobi. When Konohamaru later reunited with Mitsuki and Sarada, he was sad to hear that Yodo had died, but relieved to hear that they had managed to obtain Ryu's Thorn Soul bulb. He also learned that Araya was heading towards the tree holding Shinki to free him. Konohamaru then told Mitsuki that their mission was not over yet, which made Mitsuki realize he was talking about Jura. Konohamaru explained that he had almost been killed by Matsuri, but Boruto had appeared and saved him. Soon after, Jura showed up, most likely targeting Boruto. Mitsuki, knowing Boruto was his true son and friend, wanted to rush off and help him fight Jura. However, Konohamaru reminded him that the mission was only to secure the Thorn Soul bulbs. He also revealed that Boruto already knew about this mission. Konohamaru pointed out that the only reason they had managed to escape Jura so easily and why Jura was not focused on recovering Ryu and Matsuri's Thorn Soul bulbs was because Boruto was holding Jura's attention. In other words, Boruto was sacrificing himself to distract Jura so that they could complete the mission safely. Although Mitsuki still wanted to help Boruto, he was eventually convinced by Konohamaru. Konohamaru repeated Boruto's instructions to Mitsuki that they needed to regroup at the place where they had first met the Sen Shinobi. From his own analysis, Konohamaru concluded that Boruto had a plan, and the best thing they could do was trust him. Mitsuki agreed and chose to follow Boruto's instructions. Once Konohamaru and Mitsuki, who was carrying Sarada on his back, arrived at the location Boruto had told them to go, they started looking around, trying to figure out why Boruto had chosen that exact spot. Mitsuki even wondered if Boruto had hidden one of his metal markers there to use for teleportation. It was then revealed to both Mitsuki and Konohamaru that Boruto had worked together with Kawaki and Delta for the escape plan. Delta showed up at the exact location Boruto had mentioned and placed down a Konoha metal symbol that Boruto had given to Kawaki. Boruto's plan was to use this symbol to teleport together with Kawaki to where Mitsuki, Konohamaru, Sarada and Delta were. From there, he would use the Flying Raijin Jutsu to teleport everyone back to safety in Konoha. Konohamaru grew curious and started to ask why Boruto used a Konoha symbol for his teleportation marker in his mind. But before he could finish talking verbally, Mitsuki explained that the Konoha metal piece actually belonged to Boruto. Delta then told them that Boruto had instructed her to drop it around that area because it was harder to him to sense chakra if someone was holding the piece. She also warned Konohamaru to step back from the marker, joking that it would be pretty pitiful if he got stomped on when Boruto teleported with Kawaki. Before Konohamaru could move, Boruto appeared with Kawaki using the Flying Raijin Jutsu, and just as Delta warned, Kawaki landed right on Konohamaru, stomping on him by accident. At that moment, Mitsuki realized that Kawaki was actually with Boruto. This made him understand that Boruto had been sincere when he told him earlier that he didn't want to kill Kawaki, and that it was all a misunderstanding since Kawaki seemed perfectly fine by being by Boruto's side. While Konohamaru was still on the ground, Kawaki casually asked him what he was doing there before getting stepped on. In contrast, Boruto quickly apologized for Kawaki stepping on him and asked Konohamaru if he still had the Thorn Soul bulb. Konohamaru replied that he did. Immediately after, Boruto used the Flying Raijin Jutsu again to teleport everyone straight back to Konoha. Once they arrived in Konoha, Boruto stayed floating in the air while Konohamaru used the Thorn Soul bulb to free Muweki from a tree. All of Boruto's actions during this mission showed Konohamaru that Boruto is not really an enemy. Because of this, Konohamaru defended Boruto's name when speaking to the village leaders. He told them that Boruto had saved his life during their mission. Konohamaru also shared his personal view, saying that he doesn't believe Boruto has any intention of harming Konoha. He even suggested that they should give Boruto a chance and listen to what he has to say. This proves that Boruto has gained Konohamaru's trust. Step by step, Boruto is building important allies who will help him in the fight against the Divine Trees.